Hey traders, Ben Nathan from the Daily Scalper here. Now, what we do at the Daily Scalper, of course, it's a trading course all around scalping, and there's an EA attached to it as well that enables you to automate the process of scalping what you've learned. Now, what we do is maybe 3 to 4 times a month, we will upload a special video to the Daily Scalper members area, and what it effectively does is it gives you an idea of how I approach the markets when it comes to scalping. So I wanted to share that with the general public this week to give you guys an idea of how this can help your ongoing development as a trader. Now, the best way to learn anything new is to look over the shoulders of somebody else and watch them do it. So that's exactly what you're going to see now. So as you can see, I'm approaching the day completely fresh. I've just logged on to my screens. It's around 9:45, so I'm starting a little bit later today. So the very first thing I'm going to do is take a little look at Bloomberg. Now, if you just do a Google search for Bloomberg and click on the Markets tab, that's going to give you an overview of the key news in terms of what's been going on. So all I'm doing is I'm looking for stuff that's going to stand out as something that I could see as moving the market. So it's not expert knowledge, it's just a little bit of common sense really. So straight away, the UK economy grows faster than previously estimated. So if the economy is growing faster for the UK, that of course is going to increase the value of the pound. So if we take a closer look, and again, I'm not going to be looking at this in massive detail, I'm just going to have a little bit of an overview and see what's happened. So we've seen GDP rise 0.4%, revised upwards from 0.3. So another thing that's standing out now is we've had a growing economy for the last 9 quarters, which is also a really good thing for the UK. Now, it's mentioned in the Greece debt crisis as well. It has said that there could be a bit of a fallout into other currencies. But yeah, what we're basically seeing, I'm just flicking through, and what we are seeing is that the pound has strengthened because of this faster than expected inflation growth. So straight away, that's given me one currency to look at, and that's the pound. So we know that if anything, we should be going long on the pound. So we need to know what to trade it against. Now the euro we know is pretty weak or open to weakness, but again, the market is still buying into it, so it's not necessarily the best currency in the world to be trading right now. So I'm just flicking through. So the main thing we've seen is that UK news that gives us the pound as our buying currency. So we need to see something to sell it against. Now, I know that last night, or in the early hours of this morning, there was some pretty high impact news for the New Zealand dollar, and that was a business confidence. So let's have a look at what happened there. And for this, I'm just going to have a look at Forex Factory and have a look at their economic calendar and see what happened. So the business confidence figure in the last release was 15.7. As you can see, the actual figures for now are minus 2.3. So we've had a sharp decline on that New Zealand dollar business confidence. So I'm guessing from that information, so strong news on the pound, weak news on the New Zealand dollar, I estimate that the pound New Zealand pair will be rising in favour of the pound. So let's have a look. Let's load up a chart. Okay, so I haven't got the chart open at the moment. Actually, let's just open my FXCM account. I tend to use FXCM for scalping purely because they don't tend to have the pips from price minimums that the other brokers tend to have. So I find them a little bit better for scalping. So let's find the pound New Zealand pair. and have a look at what's going on. So I'm going on to the 15-minute intraday chart to have a look in the first place. And as we can see, as estimated, the chart is going up. And you can see, just in the last hour, we've had a jump up of around 154 pips. So, looking at this backwards, if I just opened up the pound New Zealand dollar chart and saw this massive long-term rise, and also the short-term rise as well, I would want to know why that is. It's no good just trading a pattern blindly, because you need to know what you're investing in. So dissecting that, again, we've seen from Bloomberg that the UK economy is growing faster than expected, and that New Zealand dollar business confidence is down, and therefore that's why this pair is rising. Now, we can see the 4-hour chart. We've got a nice steady upwards trend. 1 hour is up, half an hour is up. So top down, we've got a really strong technical trend to the upside, as well as fundamental reason for this to carry on rising. So with that in mind, I'm looking to scalp this. Okay, now because we've got a longer term trend as well as a short term trend to go with the actual fundamentals, rather than trade on the 1 minute time frame, which is normally my preferred time frame for smaller scalps, I'm going to look for slightly longer term scalps on this, and therefore trade the M5. And I'm going to use the itchy fingers technique, which is part of a daily scalper course. Now we've got an EA to do this, so I'm just going to use EA to do the work for me with just a small risk percent of 1% per trade. We're looking to go long only. Initial stop loss around 20 pips, being as we are in the London session. Now, I don't necessarily want this to run all day, because I do know we've got more UK news coming out. So let's have a look at what's going on. So the next news we've got is at 9:30 tomorrow morning. So it's around 24 hours away. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to allow the EA to trade this for around 23 hours. So the reason being, I want it to stop trading just before that UK news, in case that starts to run against us. But as you can see, we've got no other news for the New Zealand dollar or the UK that's deemed as high impact news. So hopefully now we should have a nice steady upwards trend, and then we're going to capture any good entry points with the itchy fingers EA. Now it is NSA FIFO compliant, so it's safe to use with all brokers. So once that's set up, you can leave it to run throughout the day. But as you can see, the key thing is I don't just go and scalp any pair. I actually look at the fundamentals behind the reasons for any market moves that are pretty considerable. Okay, so that's a little bit of a glimpse on your regular update videos to the Daily Scalper. So as you've been able to see, you've been able to look over my shoulder as I approach the market with a fresh perspective. First thing in my trading day, which today was a little bit later on, and you can see how I've processed the information I've seen and how I've used that to choose a scalping pair and direction. So feel free to head over to the Daily Scalper website. So the link for that is either attached to this video or in the email you've received. Hopefully, in either case, this video has given you a little bit of a lesson and a taster into how you can approach the markets. So most people just look for technical patterns, which on its own is a bit of a silly thing to do. You know, we really like to scalp from an investor point of view, and that's what we teach you in the Daily Scalper course. But on top of that, we do give you 3 technical methods to use to enter the markets, to basically trade in the information that you've learned. And as you can see, even within just a few short minutes of doing this video, we've jumped up by another 30 odd pips on that pair, and it's purely down to those fundamentals, guys. Happy trading.